Mr.ClixFlix. I'm your host, as always, Mr.Clix, working every day to bring you the best Heroclix channel available on YouTube. And today's video is just going to be a general discussion video on the metagame and competitive gaming, and basically the definitions of what both of those things are. If you hear somebody babbling in the background, it's my new baby. Well, not so new, he's 3 months old. But decided to come outside today. That's why you're seeing the outside of the house, because it was a nice day. For your little change of scenery might help you guys out too. So that's what we're doing today. So the metagame and competitive play, what's the difference? How are they similar? Things like that. I think it's an important subject because a lot of people ask about it. And one of the things as a science guy, that's what I went to school for and stuff, is I'm big on definitions and nomenclature and stuff like that. A lot of people use them interchangeably, the terms competitive and metagame, and while there's some overlap, they're not truly interchangeable. They're not the same word at all. So when somebody plays competitively, competitive play is at the top level of competitiveness, like Gen Con World Championship, Origins, for the United States National Championship, you know, the UK Championship and stuff that WizKids is doing now. That's competitive play. Things like that. I guess the ROC tournaments too would be competitive play. You know, anything where it's for a high value prize, big tournament, is competitive play. The metagame, which a lot of people really use, you can hear him going off now because he's trying to talk and it's just not working out for him. Is whenever you play the game within the game. Okay, so the game within the game is whenever you're playing against your opponents before the game even starts, and then you're changing your strategy once you see what your opponent has. So what the metagame is say, okay, a good example is when the Infinity Gauntlet first came out. Okay, metagame dictated that if you really wanted to be competitive, you were going to have to use the Infinity Gauntlet. You know, right, wrong, or indifferent, that was the fact of the day. I, in my opinion, think that it really opened up a lot of different play styles, so that it wasn't just one or two figures that dominated. You know, there was a whole plethora of different teams. Yes, they all sported the Infinity Gauntlet, but there weren't really two teams that were exactly the same, that had the exact same figures. So in my opinion, that was good. You know, your opinion might be different. I'm just floating it out there. So in response to that, in 10th anniversary Iron Man came out, which pretty much neutered any resource that he went up against. You know, you could deal damage to him, and you know, there were ways to skirt around it, but really it was a pain to get around that. So whenever you build a team and you were going to use the Infinity Gauntlet, you had to plan on going up against an event on that 10th anniversary Iron Man, because you knew that those people were going to know that you might run a resource. Alright, and that's the type of thing that a metagame is. It's like, okay, I'm probably going to see Pulse Wave. Is there a way to get around it? I know that my opponents are probably going to use Probability Control, Perplex, Outwit. Is there a way to take that away from them? You know, just different things like that. You know, you have to think about what your opponent's going to do and how you're going to counter it before you go. So that is what the metagame is. Game within the game. And that happens even at just your local venue that's a friendly venue, whether you think it's happening or not. Okay, so let's say I have a friend at my venue named Rick. He always plays either as Guardians or Avengers. Thor is always on his team. Thor is going to be his centerpiece. He uses a lot of move and attack. He typically has one good main attacker, one secondary attacker that normally comes in the form of Avengers movie Hawkeye, the 75.1, and then however much support the build total will allow at that point. You know, if it's 400 points and you know he's using 175 on that, he's using the rest of his points on support. So knowing that, knowing that Rick's one of the better players at my venue, I know what I'm going to have to go up against. And so do the other people. And even if you don't build a team to compete against that, and you go and you're like, okay, well, I'm playing this guy. This is how he plays. This is his play style. I know how he's going to try to use his team before he even uses it. So this is what I'm going to do to counter him with what I have right now. All right, so that's still metagame, and even at fun at-home games, that's going to happen when you play against somebody. You know, whenever Snuffleupagus comes over, I play against him, trying to show him how to play. It's starting to get to the point now where he can play pretty stiff against me because he knows my play style. He knows what I'm going to do with a figure once he gets the general gist of what the figure does. Whereas if he went to a tournament, he's getting a lot better. He's probably middle of the road, but on the upper half of the middle road. Whereas with me, he can take me pretty much right to the edge because he knows how I'm going to play it. Because he, without noticing, metagames. Okay, so that's what metagame is. It's playing the game within a game. Competitive play is playing against world-class opponents at world events or high-value, we'll just say high-value prize events. You know, because I would say that the last month of Warlight is competitive. You know, same thing with all those events. I wouldn't really say your normal weekly tournament's going to be competitive. You know, I try my best. I play a little more on the competitive side even when I play, but I really try hard to not do that whenever I go for just a regular event. I just try to run. You know, I made a rule up for myself where if I'm going to a fun event, I have to use all figures I've never used before, just to make sure that I'm, you know, not playing competitively and getting into a rut. And you know, not everybody. There's a couple people at my venue that play competitively, but not very many, and I don't want to ruin their fun. You know, I have a couple chances. You know, I have the monthly events and stuff like that to, you know, get the competitive streak out. So, now that we have those definitions, we all know, so that when you hear somebody talk metagame, you know that they should be talking about the game within the game, you know, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they're talking competitive. That can be at basically any level. There can be metagame. Or if they're talking about competitive play, you know what they're talking about now also. And if you hear them using the terms interchangeably, you know, maybe tell them, hey, what are you talking about here? Because they don't really mean the same thing. They're a little different, you know. So let's go ahead and be clear about it. So that's what the metagame is. That's what competitive play is. So if you guys have any more questions about this subject, want to know more about it, never want to see this again, you know, this type of discussion, go ahead and let me know. Leave a comment, and I'll go ahead and take that feedback. Trying to think, do I have anything else for you guys? No, not really. Listen to some stuff on eBay. I put a link on the webpage. I'm not going to really post any more videos other than maybe casual mention like what I just did, that I have stuff on eBay. So if you're, you know, kind of bored and you're floating around YouTube, just click on my page on the eBay link. It'll take you to whatever I have listed, if I have anything listed at all. So that's all I have for you guys today. As always, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first to view my YouTube videos as they become available. Until next time, please remember that it's only a critical miss if you don't have probability control.